The plan for this video was to have a detailed review of an e-bike kit I got from Alibaba, but let's just say the whole thing went so wrong that I don't have a functional e-bike to review anymore. Electric bikes can get pretty expensive, right? So when I saw an e-bike kit, which is basically a set of tools to convert your regular bike into an e-bike, I thought it was the best thing ever. Sounds pretty awesome, right? Well, not for me. Now, I'm not exactly the brightest sandwich in the drawer, but my expectations of just getting an e-bike kit and putting it together in a few hours were just way off. Don't get me wrong, it really is a good idea for some people, as I'll explain, but don't get fooled by people telling you that it's the only way to go. I always see recommendations from the pros to go this route instead of spending much more on a pre-built e-bike, but my experience was just way different. But as you'll see in this video, a lot of what went wrong was actually my fault. I just want to show how easy it is to mess something like this up if you don't really know what you're doing. And hopefully that'll prevent you from making the same mistakes that I did. So in my quest to find the e-bike kit that'll give me the most bang for my buck, I decided that I should go straight to the manufacturer. And just like that, I headed over to Alibaba instead of going to a North American company who will often sell the same exact thing but for a more expensive price. Because this is actually a huge thing in the e-bike industry. A lot of companies are selling the same exact product, just putting fancy marketing around it to make it look like they're any different. So they take the same thing, mark it up, and sell that to you for a greater price. Because business, right? But it may not be as bad as it sounds though. Let me explain. So typical North American companies have decent customer service for the most part, while Chinese companies don't exactly have the best reputation out there. And we know that good customer service often costs more, which is why their products are usually more expensive. And so them marking the price up may not be bad business practice. It might be a necessity to provide great customer service. In this specific case, think about how you usually go shopping for like anything. You go on their website, find what you want, click the checkout option, and you're done. On Alibaba, you can't just click a button and be done with. You have to actually message the supplier first, negotiate a price, and only then will they send you an invoice for you to buy their product. The thing is, if you message just about anyone, it's almost guaranteed that they're going to spam you until you finally decide to buy their kit. Getting past that, in my specific case, my supplier didn't really give me much insight into what I was buying. So when you're going through their product listings, you see a lot of product, like every sort of variation that you can imagine. But in my opinion, there was way too much for me to choose from. So I ended up settling for one that seemed decent, only to be shipped something that looked like this. To start, there was a crazy amount of wires to have to deal with. Like, I still get PTSD looking at this. I was struggling to find which wire goes where, and it was just a real mess. I mean, seriously, your bike is gonna end up looking like a transformer with all these wires hanging from it. Something that did not help at all was the manual that they gave me. It was the most basic, bare bones sort of instructions that you can imagine. And I just found myself almost Googling everything. This led me to contact the supplier again and ask for some help. And only then did they tell me that they have another kit. And oh, it's waterproof and it has like half the amount of wires and it's only $10 more? I couldn't believe this wasn't the one that he told me to get first. Anyways, I was so determined, I decided to place the order for this new waterproof kit, and it was much easier to install. This one had the wires from the throttle and LCD display linked together, so that was a lot less of a headache in terms of the wire management. So trust me, get the waterproof kit if you're gonna buy one. Even if you don't need the waterproofing, you should still get this one because it's just gonna be a lot easier to put together and it looks like 100 times cooler. But just when you thought the troubles were over with, they forgot to send me a wire that connects the throttle to the controller. At this point, I was way too far into the game to give up, so I just placed the order and it shipped here, and that was that. This sort of thing probably wouldn't have happened if I went with a reputable North American company. Mistakes like these do happen, but they're just few and far in between. But with Chinese manufacturers, there's a lot more quality control issues. And this sort of customer service is just one of the things you're gonna have to sacrifice when you go with a no-brand e-bike kit. Anyways, it took me well over a month to build my e-bike kit. Some of that was on me and some of it was on the supplier. But I have a running e-bike kit, so time to go enjoy it, right? As I was getting ready to go on the bike, I accidentally put my foot down on one of the wires while I was pressing on the pedal, and it literally tore the wire, and just like that, I had no pedal assist system anymore. I figured, okay, I still have a running e-bike. I'm gonna go enjoy it and forget about all this. I can just use the throttle and make it an electric motorcycle. But then the final nail in the coffin happened. The universe wanted to be loud and clear and let me know that I am never riding an e-bike. So literally on my first ride, I hit a pothole and the battery fell and got absolutely hammered. I want to point out though, what happened here was almost surely my fault. See, when I was installing the battery on the bike, I didn't want to drill any extra holes, so I just took the screws from the water bottle holder and used that for the battery. There were only 2 screws installed on the bike, but I was like 76% sure that it was gonna stay, which is why I decided to go through with it anyway. Obviously I was wrong. So yeah, let's say that that was on me. But if this is something you're considering doing, you should really ask yourself, are you comfortable drilling a hole in your bike? And that was my experience with an e-bike kit. To think that all that work was for like half an hour of riding a bike, not fun. But I guess the alternative is to just buy the e-bike kit and let a bike mechanic do the work for you. But I think that's not the best idea for 2 reasons. One, I feel like one of the biggest benefits of installing your own e-bike kit is that it forces you to learn your own bike and the kit a lot better. So if something goes wrong, which is honestly just more likely because you're putting all these things on your bike, you're gonna know what to do in that scenario. Second, in my experience, a lot of the bike mechanics weren't familiar with this sort of thing. So I took it to a lot of different places and lots of them told me they're just not comfortable working on this. But with everything said, the question is asked, are cheap e-bike kits worth it? And the answer to that is really simple in my opinion. It depends. My whole point in this video was to sort of take a step back from all the recommendations out there saying, don't waste your money on electric bikes, just build it yourself. Because you really have to consider your time and effort as a cost when you're doing something like this. Sure, it's absolutely true. You get way more value in building your own e-bike than buying it pre-built. But think about the bigger picture here. Do you go out there and farm your own honey, or do you buy it pre-built at the store? Because you definitely get more value in farming your own honey. You see where I'm going with this? You can always trade your time for effort, but you have to make the determination as to what the breaking point is. For me, building an e-bike was way past that point. On the other hand, I guess building an e-bike is something you do once and it stays with you forever. Sort of like riding a bike. Riding an e-bike? So in terms of giving scores, I'm giving e-bike kits an A for value. And that's if you're considering spec to spec. For example, if you were gonna go and buy a 250 watt motor, you can probably spend the same amount on an e-bike kit but get a 1000 watt motor. In terms of ease of installation though, I'm giving it an F. Now, this depends on how skilled you are in this sort of thing, but I think we can all agree that doing less work is always better. And as you saw, almost everything that went wrong in this video was my fault. So my point in this video was to give you a warning if you're about to go through the process so you don't make the same mistakes, and to also let the group of people out there know that building an e-bike kit may not be for you. But if you're someone that likes to get down and dirty, you like to fix things, then you should definitely give e-bike kits a try. But just realize that not everyone is like you, and that's totally okay. Thanks a lot for watching. I'd love to make more e-bike videos that are fair and unbiased and hopefully kind of fun. So if you like what you saw, then do hit the like and subscribe button.